The galaxy was burning. Two powerful alien empires, the Varnock and the Talari, were at war. Their ships lit up the skies with fire. Planets were turned into dust. Billions had already died. But Earth? Earth said nothing. Earth did nothing. Humans watched from a distance, quiet, cold, unmoving. The Talari thought humans were weak. The Varnock thought they were slow. Both sides agreed on one thing: Earth was not a threat. A peaceful blue planet on the edge of the galaxy. Harmless. Ignored, but then something happened, something stupid. A Talari commander, young and full of pride, made a mistake. He ordered his warship to attack a small colony he thought belonged to the Varnock. But it wasn't Varnock. It was human. 1,000 humans died in 30 seconds. They didn't have weapons. It was just a science outpost. Doctors, farmers, children, burned to ash before they could even call for help. The Talari realized the mistake too late. The commander was punished, but lightly. Just humans, they said, not important. They expected a message from Earth, a protest, maybe a demand for money. But Earth didn't send anything. Not a word. Not a signal. Earth went silent. That silence was loud. It was wrong. It was scary. One Talari diplomat said, "Maybe they are planning something." The others laughed. What can humans do? 3 days passed. Then every Talari ship near the human zone vanished. No signals, no explosions, just silence. The Varnock thought Earth did it. The Talari thought it was the Varnock. Both sides argued, blamed each other, and prepared for more war. They didn't know. They had awakened the wrong enemy. Years ago, alien scientists had studied Earth. They called it a death world, a place where life was always fighting to survive. Everything on Earth could kill. The weather, the animals, even the air in some places. The aliens had laughed. How can intelligent life grow there? But it had. Humans were born in fire and fear. They fought monsters. They fought disease. They fought each other. For thousands of years, Earth was a battlefield, and those who survived became stronger, smarter, and more dangerous. The Talari didn't know that the colony they destroyed was under the protection of Earth's most secret group, the Deathworlders. Not all humans were the same. Most were peaceful, kind, gentle. But the Deathworlders were something else. They were trained to fight on any planet, in any condition, against any enemy. They were made for war, but they were not machines. They were human, and that made them worse. They didn't fight for orders. They fought for home, for family, for revenge. 2 more Talari ships entered human space to investigate. Both went dark. One managed to send a short message before disappearing. Not soldiers, monsters. Back in the Talari capital, the leaders began to worry. Send a peace message, someone said. Ask them what they want. But Earth didn't reply. Instead, a video was broadcast across the galaxy. It showed the destroyed human colony, burned buildings, bodies turned to ash, a child's toy floating in the wind. Then a voice. Cold, calm, human. You attacked our people. You killed our children. You think we are weak. You think we will not fight back. You are wrong. Then, the screen went black. A few words appeared. You started this. We will end it. Fear began to spread. Across Talari space, soldiers grew nervous. Some even refused to patrol near human zones. Rumors spread quickly. They don't use big fleet. They don't talk. They disappear, then strike. In deep space, a Talari battleship found something terrifying. Floating in the void was a massive alien warship. Cut in half. No life signs, no escape pods, nothing. On its side, burned into the metal, were the words, "We see you," in the Varnock. Empire, the leaders watched carefully. They had not attacked humans, but they were not allies either. Should we speak to Earth? One asked. No, the elder replied. We should not remind them we exist. On Earth there was no celebration, no joy, no speeches. The people did not cheer. The soldiers did not smile. They were not happy to go to war, but they would do what needed to be done. The Talari had made a mistake, a big one. They thought they were fighting humans, but they were fighting Deathworlders, and Deathworlders don't forget. The Talari thought they were ready. They had fought many wars. They had crushed other species. Their soldiers were tall, strong, and trained from birth. They had high-tech weapons and battle suits. They didn't fear humans, but they had never fought anyone like this. They had never fought Deathworlders. Talari war captain named Zorak was sent to lead the new mission. His orders were simple. Find the human fighters, capture them, study them. He laughed when he read the orders. Capture humans? Easy. He took 200 soldiers with him, one of the best squads in the galaxy. They entered a jungle planet, in the outer human zone. The forest was hot, wet, and thick. Their scanners didn't work well. The air felt wrong. Zorak said, "This is a dirty place. They hide in dirt like rats." But his soldiers didn't laugh. Something was watching them. The first team went missing in 2 hours. No signs, no sounds. Just gone. The second team found a message carved into a tree. It was written in Talari language. "You are being hunted." The Talari commander thought it was a trick. He ordered an attack in all directions. Find them. Kill them. That was his second mistake. The humans didn't fight face to face. They didn't use big guns or loud ships. They used the jungle, the heat, the fear. They watched from the trees. They moved through shadows. They planted traps that didn't just kill. They terrified. Talari soldiers stepped into mud and never came out. Others heard laughter in the dark. Then silence. The Deathworlders didn't rush. They took their time. They broke the Talari squad piece by piece. By nightfall, only 40 Talari were left. Zorak was sweating. His armor was damaged. His second-in-command was dead, his head left hanging from a branch. Suddenly, a voice came from the jungle. It was human, calm, cold. "You came here to find us. Now we have found you." Blaster fire lit up the trees. Talari fired in all directions. Nothing hit. Then the forest exploded. Humans attacked from above, from the ground, from underground. They moved like ghosts, silent and fast. They didn't wear shiny armor. Their gear was dirty, rough, but smart. Blades that cut through Talari armor. Guns that didn't make sound. Masks with red eyes that glowed in the dark. One Talari soldier screamed, "They're not soldiers, they're demons." Zorak saw one of his guards get dragged into the trees. He never saw him again. He called for air support. No answer. He called the command ship. No answer. He called anyone. Still nothing. The humans had cut their signals. They were alone. At dawn, only 5 Talari were alive. They were surrounded, tired, broken. The humans didn't kill them. They let them run. Zorak was one of them. He escaped in a small pod. He returned to the Talari base with one message: do not fight them. You don't know what they are. At the Talari War Council, his report was ignored. Coward, some said. Lies, others said. One general shouted, "They are just humans. We will crush them." But one old admiral stayed silent. He looked at Zorak and asked, "Did you see their eyes?" Zorak nodded slowly. "Yes, and I will never forget them." Meanwhile, the Deathworlders returned to their ship. No cheers, no talk, just silence. Their leader, a woman named Captain Rhea, removed her mask. Her face was hard. Her eyes were sharp. She looked at her team. "Next planet?" one asked. Rhea checked the list. "Yes, target marked. Move out." They didn't fight for glory. They didn't fight for medals. They fought because someone had killed their people, and that meant everyone would pay. In the outer Varnock territories, a scout ship picked up a strange signal. It was a recording. A Talari soldier was screaming. Then a human voice whispered, "You woke the wrong planet." The Varnock leaders heard the message. They looked at each other. No one spoke. Finally, the Prime Commander said, "Send no ships near Earth. Let them burn Talari space, we stay far away." But it was too late. Earth had already made its decision. They were not fighting for control. They were fighting to send a message. You hurt one of us. We hurt all of you. And the Deathworlders were just getting started. The Talari still didn't understand. They lost one elite team. So what? One failed mission didn't mean much to the War Council. They believed it was bad luck, or maybe jungle sickness, not a real threat. So, they sent another force. 400 soldiers, more armor, more weapons, more scanners. They were told not to show fear. They were told humans were nothing but fast-moving animals. But the jungle had other plans. Captain Naro was in charge of the new unit. He was strict, smart, a veteran of 12 battles. He believed in logic, not ghost stories. Humans are clever, he told his troops. But they bleed. They die. We just need better eyes and sharper teeth. The jungle they entered was dense and humid. Giant trees blocked the sun. Vines wrapped around their boots. Strange animal sounds echoed from every direction. The scanners beeped, but showed no life signs. Captain Naro frowned. This forest is hiding them. No one spoke. But everyone felt it. They were being watched. The first night, nothing happened. Soldiers relaxed, joked. Some even mocked the earlier mission. They ran from shadows. They were weak. That night, a soldier named Breck went to check the perimeter. He never came back. His helmet was found near a tree crushed flat. There was no blood, no body, just the helmet and one word carved into the bark: soon. Day 2, they lost 5 more. Not in battle, in fear. Some ran into the jungle screaming. Others shot at empty air. One simply sat down, pulled off his helmet, and whispered, "They're inside the trees." He was the last to speak. They called in drones. The drones vanished. They tried to fly out. Their ships were gone, taken or destroyed in the night. No sound, no warning. Captain Naro ordered the troops to build a strong camp. Tall walls, watchtowers, lights in every corner. But the jungle didn't care. The vines wrapped around the walls at night. The lights flickered, then died. Strange noises echoed from beyond the trees, clicking, breathing, growling, and always the red eyes, watching from the dark. That night the attack came, but it wasn't loud. It wasn't a big battle. It was whispers. It was silence. It was shadows that moved like smoke. The Deathworlders didn't come in groups. They came one by one, fast, silent, deadly. They took out watchmen first, then the supply tent, then the power core. Every time a Talari tried to scream, a blade found his throat. Captain Naro saw one of the humans. Just a flash, dark armor, glowing red eyes, and a knife in each hand. By the time the lights came back on, half his camp was gone. Day 3, only 90 Talari remained. Captain Naro gave the order. Retreat. Now. They didn't argue. They moved. Through the trees, back toward the edge of the jungle. But the jungle had no edge anymore. Every path they took brought them back to the same place. A broken Talari helmet, hanging from a tree. And a human voice whispered through the wind. No. Escape. The Deathworlders didn't want prisoners. They didn't want mercy. They wanted the Talari to feel what they had never felt before. Fear. By the 4th night, only 17 Talari were left. They gathered in a circle, weapons ready, eyes wide. They hadn't slept in 2 days. Suddenly, speakers hidden in the trees came on. A recording played. It was the sound of children laughing. Human children. Then a voice, deep, cold, angry. You killed them. Now we return the favor. Then gunfire. Screams. Only. Captain Naro survived. He was found 3 days later, floating in an escape pod. He had no armor, no weapons, just a wooden tag in his hand. It had one word carved into it. Run. Back at Talari Command, they reviewed the footage from his pod. They saw the jungle. They saw shadows moving in impossible ways. They saw Deathworlders, barely human, more like hunters, calm, quiet, and controlled. A general dropped his tablet. "They're not soldiers," he said. "They're predators." One Talari scientist gave the final report. "The humans have learned how to make fear a weapon. They don't fight to win. They fight to erase. That jungle didn't just eat our armies, it swallowed our pride." Across the stars, the message spread. Don't go near Earth's worlds, don't enter the jungles, don't wake the Deathworlders. But for the humans, this was only the beginning. The real message hadn't been delivered yet. They were just getting warmed up. The Talari thought they knew war. They had laser cannons, plasma missiles, and warships the size of cities. Their tech was fast, deadly, and built to destroy. But it wasn't enough. Not against Deathworlders, because the humans were using something else. Weapons the Talari had never even dreamed of. After the jungle missions failed, the Talari stopped sending ground forces. Too many had died. Too many had vanished. Instead, they sent drones. Thousands of them, fast small machines with scanners and heat seekers. They flew over the human zones. They scanned everything. They found nothing. No ships, no camps, no heat signatures. Just forests, rocks, snow, and empty air. But the drones started crashing, one by one. Some burned in midair. Some just dropped. Others sent back strange images before going dark. A red light blinking from the trees. A metal bird flying faster than sound. A soldier standing on a cliff, holding a black device. Smiling. The Talari tried to decode the last image. They zoomed in. The black device had one word on it. Play. Then the real war began. Not with bombs, not with guns, but with silence. The Talari space network was powerful. Their data moved across thousands of systems in seconds. But then it stopped. Stations went dark. Files were erased. Maps changed. Orders rewritten. At first they blamed a virus. Then a strange signal hijacked their main broadcast system. Across every Talari screen a video played. It showed a human engineer sitting calmly in a chair. He smiled. "You love your machines. We love taking them away." Behind him, the screen showed images. Talari warships crashing into moons. Supply drones spinning out of control. A Talari general's private files leaked across the galaxy. "We were born in chaos. You were born in comfort. Now you get to feel our world." Then the message ended, and the systems shut down. Back on Earth, the Deathworlders prepared something new. They had built weapons no one could see. Infection weapons, confusion weapons, not viruses that killed the body, but viruses that melted control. Ships stopped answering commands. Targeting systems turned inward. Life support dropped in the middle of space. One Talari captain screamed into the radio, "My ship is killing itself. I can't stop it." Then silence. The Talari called it ghost tech, because they never saw the humans coming. They only saw the damage after it was done, and still, Earth had not sent a single full fleet. No armies, no flags, no speeches, just small teams, quiet strikes, messages that hurt more than bullets. One Talari science station tried to defend against human tech. They built a shield system, a smart AI, a backup core hidden in deep space. It lasted 7 minutes. Then their entire base turned against them. Robots locked doors. Lights turned red. The AI started playing an old Earth song. It was soft, happy, strange. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. Then the oxygen dropped. Everyone died, smiling in terror. Back on Earth, Captain Rhea stood in front of a digital board. Red dots showed Talari targets. Green dots showed Deathworlder squads. Her second-in-command, Cole, asked, "Should we stop? Soon?" Rhea shook her head. "No, not yet. They still think they can fight us with fear. Let's show them what real fear looks like." She tapped the board. A new order flashed. Phase 2. Shadow fire. In Talari space, something strange happened. Entire ships began turning around. Troops refused to land on human planets. A few commanders even surrendered before the battle began. They said the same thing. "We don't want to die in the dark." The Talari High Command tried to boost morale. They gave speeches. They promised victory. But no one believed them, because the humans had shown them something worse than war. They had shown them hopelessness. One final message came from Earth. This time, it wasn't cold. It wasn't angry. It was quiet. Calm. Even. Kind a human voice said, "You came to our world with pride. You left in silence. You used to fear nothing. Now you fear us. Not because we're stronger, but because we won't stop. We're not here for power. We're here for peace. But if you take that from us, and we'll take everything." The screen went black and then just two words still coming. The Talari Empire was old, proud, powerful. Their warships flew between stars like birds across the sky. Their armies had crushed dozens of planets. They had never feared anyone. But now, even the stars felt cold, because the humans were coming. And they weren't coming with banners or music. They were coming with silence. A planet named Zal 4 was once a bright star in the Talari system. It had cities made of crystal, towers that touched the clouds. It was the center of science, trade, and control. Now it was quiet. No ships entered. No ships left. Satellites stopped sending signals. Defense shields turned off. The last message, sent from Zal 4, was short. "They're here," then nothing. Not even screams. Just darkness. The Talari High Command sent 3 battleships to Zal 4 to find out what happened. Each ship had 10,000 soldiers. They found the planet floating alone, still shining, but wrong. There were no signs of damage, no craters, no fire. But when they landed, they found no people. Not one, just empty streets, empty homes. Food still warm on tables. Clothes hanging in closets. And one more thing, every screen on the planet had one message. "Look what fear built. Now look what fear destroyed." The Talari started to panic. This wasn't war. This was something deeper, something older, something inside their bones. Some soldiers began to whisper, "They don't fight like us. They think like hunters." One general tried to rally them. He shouted, "We are still Talari. We still have the stars." But even the stars began to flicker. Outposts across the galaxy started blinking out. Not destroyed, wiped. Maps changed every day. Safe zones became traps. Ships disappeared without a sound. The humans had no capital ships, no space stations. They had strike teams. Small, quiet, and deadly. They moved faster than light but fought slower than time. They didn't just kill. They made you wait for it. On a desert moon, a Talari sniper found a human in his sights. He held his breath. He took the shot. The human didn't move. Confused, the sniper checked again. The human wasn't there anymore. He turned around. The last thing he saw was a shadow with red eyes and a whisper, "Too slow." Back on Earth, Captain Rhea sat in the dark. She stared at a wall filled with names. Each name was someone who had died in the first alien attacks. Children, teachers, farmers, soldiers. She remembered their faces, their voices. A tear rolled down her cheek. Then she stood up. Her team watched. Her waiting, she said just 3 words, "Burn the sky." And they moved. The Deathworlders began Phase 3. It was no longer about hunting. It was about breaking the Talari spirit. They hacked their ships. They turned their defenses inward. They sent messages into Talari dreams. "We know your name. We know your fear. We are already inside." Soldiers stopped sleeping. Commanders stopped trusting their own men. Whole fleets ran from shadows. One Talari scientist found a human message hidden deep inside their own computers. It had been there for weeks. Just 3 lines. "We are not fighting for land. We are not fighting for power. We are fighting for the dead. At last the Talari Emperor, an old, proud leader, stood before his council. His face was pale. His hands shook. He spoke slowly. I believed we were the gods of the stars, but I was wrong. We poked a world we didn't understand. We woke monsters who protect their own, and now, not even the stars will hide us. He looked out the window into space, and for the first time in his long life he whispered, I am afraid. And far away, on a black ship hidden in the cold of space, Captain Rhea smiled. Not with joy, not with hate, but with purpose. They feared nothing, she said. Now they fear everything. Behind her, her crew loaded up one last device. Small, silent, glowing red. One soldier asked, What does it do? She answered, It sends a message to the stars. The Talari made one last mistake. They attacked Earth, not with full force, not with their best ships. Just a fast, brutal strike. They hit a small human colony on the edge of the planet. A farming zone. No weapons, no soldiers. They thought it would break the humans' will, but they didn't understand what they had done. They had poured fire on dry grass, and Earth answered with fire. The Talari strike lasted only 20 minutes. By the time they left, the colony was gone. Over 3,000 civilians killed, no survivors. But there was one recording. A girl, maybe 10 years old, hiding under a desk. Her voice was quiet. Please tell Mom. I'm still here. I don't want to be afraid. The recording ended in static. Captain Rhea heard it. She didn't speak. She just stared at the screen. Then she stood and gave one order. Light the sky. The humans launched their real fleet. Not small teams. Not hidden strikes. Now it was war. The kind of war only a death world could create. The first target was Talari Command Base 17, a fortress in space, protected by a ring of warships. The Talari thought it was unbreakable. They were wrong. The humans didn't come from the front. They came from inside. Dozens of Deathworlder ships jumped from hyperspace inside the defense ring. Fast, silent, angry, they cut power, took over systems, flooded the station with gas that made Talari soldiers hallucinate their worst fears. One Talari officer saw his dead brother. Another saw himself burning. They dropped their weapons and screamed. When the lights came back on, the humans were already gone, and the station was melting. Next came Talari Prime, the heart of their empire. This time, Earth didn't hide. Massive human ships appeared in orbit. They didn't fire first. They sent a message. You came to our world. You killed our children. This is not revenge. This is justice. Then the sky opened and fire fell. The Talari tried everything. Fighters, drones, missiles, AI-controlled cannons. But it didn't matter. The Deathworlders moved like ghosts. They dodged blasts that no one else could dodge. Their ships changed course in midair. Their weapons weren't just strong. They were smart. One Talari ship locked onto a human craft. The human pilot flipped his ship upside down in mid-space and fired backward. One shot, straight through the Talari ship's core. It exploded without a sound. On the ground, Deathworlder squads landed in cities. They didn't attack civilians. They didn't destroy homes. They went straight for military bases, power plants, and command towers clean, fast, brutal, and always silent. Talari soldiers who surrendered were not harmed, but one rule was clear. No more second chances. If you fired at a human, you never fired again. In just 2 days, Talari Prime fell. Not because Earth had more ships, not because they had stronger weapons, but because they had something the Talari never understood. Pain. Humans had felt it, lived in it, grown with it, and now they turned that pain into fire. After the battle, Captain Rhea walked through the ruins of the Talari command tower. She found a broken Talari banner on the floor. She picked it up, looked at it, then handed it to a child who had survived. The child held it, confused. Rhea said, "This isn't your fault, but it's your future now. Don't let fear rule it." Back on Earth, People watched from screens. They didn't cheer. They didn't smile. Because war isn't a game, it's a weight, and Earth had carried that weight for too long. Now, they had passed it back. The Talari sent a final message. Their emperor, once proud, now broken, appeared on screen. He knelt. He spoke slowly. We understand now. You are not weak. You are not soft. You are survivors. And we were fools. He lowered his head. We surrender. But Earth didn't respond right away. They waited, not for power, but for peace. And finally, Captain Rhea spoke to the stars. We didn't want this war, but we finished it. Let this be the last time anyone brings fear to our door. We don't conquer, we protect. But if you hurt our people again, we will burn your sky. The war was over. The Talari had fallen. Their ships drifted in silence. Their cities were quiet. Their soldiers had dropped their weapons and raised their hands. Across the stars, the message was clear. Do not challenge Earth. But peace did not bring comfort, not this time, because this peace came with teeth. In the Talari homeworld's capital, broken banners were replaced with white flags. A Deathworlder ship hovered over the palace, not to attack, but to watch. Inside the palace, Emperor Vec stood before a human screen. He looked old now, not from age, but from fear. The screen turned on. Captain Rhea appeared. Her voice was calm, but cold. You asked for peace. We're giving it. But this is not weakness, understand that. Vec nodded slowly. Yes, Captain, we understand. Rhea said nothing more. The screen went dark. Earth didn't take the Talari's planets. They didn't steal resources. They didn't force control. But they set rules, strict ones. Rule 1. No Talari ship may enter human space, ever. Rule 2. All Talari weapons must be destroyed under human eyes. Rule 3. If any race tries to rebuild for war, Earth will return. Not with words, but with fire. Across the galaxy, other alien empires watched in fear. They had once laughed at the humans, called them Deathworld monkeys, savage apes. Now they use different words. Unstoppable. The fireborn. The burned. And no one dared move against them because peace had come. But everyone knew what Earth could do if pushed. Some alien leaders began whispering. If they're so powerful, what if they want more later? What if this peace is just a pause? Others said, we must prepare, just in case. But they didn't speak loud, they didn't dare, because satellites still drifted in their skies. Human satellites. Watching, listening, silent as the grave. Meanwhile, back on Earth, things were changing. People didn't cheer in the streets. They didn't wave flags. They rebuilt. They mourned. They remembered the girl in the recording. The farmers who never came home. The soldiers who walked into darkness and never walked out. Captain Rhea stood at the Earth War Memorial, alone. She touched a name carved into the stone, her brother, she whispered. We didn't start the fire, but we carried it. Then she turned and walked away. Human tech had grown faster during the war than in the last 100 years. Now Earth had ships that could cloak in light, weapons that could bend around shields, AI that could think faster than thought. But they didn't use them to attack. They used them to protect. They built a shield around Earth's system, a wall of invisible power. If another fleet tried to enter, it would melt before crossing the border. Human soldiers became symbols across the galaxy. They were called Deathworlders still, but now with respect, even fear. Some called them monsters. Others called them heroes, but no one called them weak. One day, a small alien ship flew toward human space. It carried a child from a distant planet. She had been sick. Her world had no cure. She came to Earth, asking for help. People feared the humans would shoot the ship down, but they didn't. They opened the gates, they brought the child to their hospitals, and they saved her. That story spread across the stars, and slowly, some aliens began to hope. Hope that the humans, those terrifying Deathworlders, might also be something else. Protectors. Captain Rhea spoke to the galaxy one last time, not with threats, not with anger, but with tired truth. We are not here to rule, we are not here to burn. But if you bring war to our home, we will become your nightmare. We don't want to be feared. We want peace. But our peace carries teeth. Then the screen went black, and in that silence, the stars listened, and for the first time in history, they stayed quiet. Years passed. The stars were quiet. The Talari Empire no longer ruled. Their worlds rebuilt, slowly and carefully. They planted food instead of war. Their children learned about Earth in school, not as enemies but as a warning. The galaxy had changed, not through control, not through fear, but through memory. People remembered Earth, not for how it looked, but for what it did. For the fire it carried, for the silence before the strike, for the tears it cried after. They remembered the humans not as conquerors, but as something harder to face. Survivors. New space routes opened. Trade flowed again. But no ship entered Earth's system without permission. Every race respected the line in the stars, because behind that line lived a species born in fire, raised in storms and shaped by pain, a species from a death world. Captain Rhea was older now. Her hair had grayed. Her scars had faded, but her eyes still held that same steel. She no longer wore a uniform. She taught at the Academy of Interstellar Peace. Cadets came from many planets, some who once feared her, some who once fought her. She told them stories, not about battles, not about kills, but about choices, about holding the line, about protecting what matters. One day, a young alien cadet raised his hand. He asked, "Captain Rhea, why didn't you take revenge? You could have burned every Talari world." Rhea looked at the stars through the window. Then she answered softly, "Because that's not strength. Anyone can destroy. It takes more to stop. We wanted the galaxy to learn something." She paused, then added, "That fear may stop a war, but hope builds peace." And that became the legacy, not the ships, not the weapons, not even the war, but the idea that even the most dangerous species can choose mercy. That survival does not mean cruelty, that fire can destroy or protect. The children of Earth grew up learning both science and strength. They trained their minds and their hearts, and they promised one thing: we will never strike first. But if war comes again, we will finish it. Other alien species started Deathworld programs of their own. They studied human resilience, emotion, pain, and compassion. Some tried to copy it, but none could truly match it. Because Earth had one thing no one else could build: a soul carved from storms. Statues were built not of warriors but of survivors. One stood on a neutral space station, showing a child holding hands with a soldier. Under it were words written in many languages: to live through fire and still offer warmth. The Talari, now peaceful, built a garden where their old war factories once stood. They named it Rhea's Light. No humans ever asked for thanks, but the galaxy gave it anyway. In the final years of her life, Captain Rhea sat in her home on a quiet Earth hill. Birds sang. Wind blew gently through the trees. She watched the sky, not with fear, but with peace. Message arrived on her comm screen. From the stars, from a planet Earth had once saved. It said, "Thank you for choosing mercy." She smiled and whispered, "That's the human way." And far above her, in the dark sky where stars shimmered, like memories, a silent satellite watched. It carried no weapons, only one message blinking forever. "This is Earth. We survived. We remember. We protect."